Welcome back, everyone, to the Coconut Curry Podcast, a podcast where I say wear the same flannel back-to-back weeks, but we're just going to ignore that.
I didn't realize that.
We are a group of college kids at the University of Pittsburgh. We talk sports. If you like what you see, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We talk about anything from the NBA, MLB, and NFL. Right now, we're in definitely hockey. NFL season, but we're becoming baseball fans. Baseball playoffs around the corner, so we're going to talk about
October.
So we're going to talk about that a little bit today, and then we will never talk about hockey. If you see us talking about hockey on this podcast, and put out alert.
I like hockey, okay? It's cool.
There's a difference between liking hockey and talking about hockey for fun.
Oh, you guys need to see my ostrich betting bets, or ostrich racing bets.
Ostrich?
Anyway.
We're going to move on there. Like I said, if you like what you see, please like, comment, subscribe. It really helps out our channel a lot. And we're going to get into NBA news, which is really exciting because we haven't talked about the NBA in a minute because the NBA offseason is always so dry because you always go in and you think, you know, all these big things are going to happen. A bunch of people are going to be traded, a bunch of free agency news in the free agent pool. All of them just end up going back to their old teams. Big trades don't happen, but a big trade did happen.
Finally.
Damian Lillard went to the Milwaukee Bucks.
Thank
Miami
God.
Heat avoided getting him, and then now Milwaukee Bucks have Damian Lillard, Chris Middleton, and Giannis Antetokounmpo.
That
scary.
Again, I am very hesitant to say anything about this team yet, solely because of the Brooklyn Nets.
Yes.
I am still, to this day, worried about any super team that is assembled solely because of how bad the Brooklyn Nets were. Because they had one shot, and then they immediately disbanded the entire team, and now the Brooklyn Nets are basically rebuilding.
They didn't even give it a good shot. It wasn't even like the Brooklyn Nets gave it a good shot. They got bounced.
James Harden played once.
Yeah.
Kyrie, I don't think any of it might have been 10 games that they all played at the same time together, and then they were just all right, we're gone.
I actually think this is not even correct. I think the number might have been 12.
Yeah, no,
I wouldn't be surprised. But of course, the thing that I think with this combination though of Damian Lillard and Giannis is they're kind of terrifyingly good pairings together.
Yes.
Because Dame stretches the court. He's a good point guard. He is a shoot first point guard, but he can still pass the ball. He's still able to do that. He's actually pretty decent on defense too. He's not an absolute liability like some other ones. But he's a very solid pairing. And then because that's been my whole thing the entire time is that if Giannis is able to get some sort of jump shot, the league's over. But now he doesn't need to do the jump shot because Damian Lillard is going to be dropping 45-foot bombs every single game.
It's super cliche. If you look anywhere, everyone's going to tell you the super cliche, this is a perfect pairing because Dame Lillard can shoot from 40 feet out and he's not great on defense and Giannis is an elite defender. But it's cliche because it's true.
It's true. That's the exact pairing that
it doesn't need to be a hot take that it's a perfect pairing.
It really is. And they still keep Middleton. He's a really good defender too. Obviously, Raj thinks he's really ugly, so he hates him.
I think the core of building a good team is having a good big man, a good guard, and then a good versatile forward.
Hey,
which
Sixers,
exactly is what they have.
Take some notes, please.
Well, we will talk about the Sixers because I am not a big fan right now. But the trade goes: Bucks get Damian Lillard, Blazers get Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, Kamara. They get a 2029 first. It's crazy that we're talking about 2029
so far
picks.
Away.
Unprotected. They swap with the Bucks in 2028, and they get 2030 picks. So Blazers get a haul, but I mean that's a haul that's coming down 6-7 years down the pipeline, which is really far away. Suns get Yusuf Nurkic, Grayson Allen, Nasir Little, and Keon Johnson. The biggest thing I want to talk about because I am a resident Suns fan here. I understand they didn't want DeAndre Ayton for team culture. I'm sure there's more behind the scenes stuff we haven't heard before, but they're not a better team today because they got Yusuf Nurkic to play center.
No.
And they had media day today. We're recording this on Monday, and you'll probably see this on Tuesday when it comes out. Yusuf Nurkic is not making that Suns team better. And at media day today, they were pretending as if they were better.
They got Shaq, basically. It's no.
They were pretending that their tean got better with Yusuf Nurkic. And I can promise you they did not get any better.
Oh, don't worry. They got Grayson Allen, though. He'll injure every single good player.
And I am a Sam Howell fan club member. I am a Nasir Little fan club member, so I am happy to see him. But the Suns do have to still make moves there because I'm not sure Yusuf Nurkic is the center that they're going to have banging with Nikola Jokic in the Western Conference Finals or Anthony Davis. So they're going to have to figure out something around there. I think the haul for the Blazers is really good because you're going to pair that with the haul they got from Drew Holiday, who went to the Celtics. So that trade goes Boston Celtics get Drew Holiday for Malcolm Brogdon, Robert Williams III, 2 future first-round picks, one from Golden State in 2024, and then Boston's 2029 pick. I think the Blazers did great here. This is a much better haul than they could have gotten from Miami Heat.
Yeah, they got because this is exactly what you would if you're a rebuilding team with like an old superstar, like this is exactly what you need. Just picks and some decent rotational players every once in a while, whatever. But like you really need exactly what they got, and Miami just physically wouldn't be able to give up that because also it's like who would you rather have, like DeAndre Ayton or Tyler Hero? It's like, look, love Tyler Hero, but he's doesn't have the same kind of potential as a DeAndre Ayton on like a young team like this. And who's the point guard that they just got in the last draft?
Who?
Blazers.
Yeah. Scoot Henderson.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be like a very solid like young roster where DeAndre Ayton, like he's like kind of he's a center, but like he's more of like a power forward.
I think notably here, Boston's 2029 unprotected pick. We have no clue what that'll be because that's we're in 2021. It's gonna be 5 years later. Jason Tatum will be coming on the last year of his extension. Jaylen Brown will be coming on the last year extension.
For all we know.
They could be traded by that point. They could just not be re-signed anymore. They could just be older and not as good.
Mm-hmm.
I know Jason Tatum's always 19 years old.
Yeah, he's still 19. So.
He will eventually be 30 at some point.
Yeah, it's going to be 19 until he's 30.
Yeah. So I think a 2029 pick where your Blazers could get that pick, and then all of a sudden it's like the Blazers have the 6th pick and the 9th pick, and people are like, where the hell did they get the 9th pick? How did they get 2 picks?
Oh wait, that's Boston.
Oh yeah, they traded away Drew Holiday in 2023, and they acquired this 2029 pick. So
Blazers
I think Blazers did really good. It's way better than Nikola Jovic, Jaime Jaquez, Tyler Hero, and a couple first pick.
Yeah, like that's not worth it.
So I'm a big fan. Raj, do you have any takes on those big trades happening?
I just like Peter said with what happened with the Nets. I don't know what it's gonna look like in Milwaukee. Like they could be good, they could be bad, and it's just another Nets situation. But I mean, the Blazers, they got what they needed. They have the picks, they can rebuild.
Yeah, I think the difference with the Bucks is that it's not a big three situation at all. No. Like you can call it a big three, but
it's
everyone
really
knows
a duo
it's Dame and Giannis, and Chris Middleton's just going to fit in there. Whereas the problem with the Nets, in my opinion, was that it was like Kyrie and James, Kevin Durant number 1, Kyrie, James, who was number 2. Like it's hard to really draw that line where it's very clearly going to be Giannis and Dame's team, and they're going to work everything around that.
And also, I feel like they have a much better culture. I feel like just like there, because because the Brooklyn Nets had no culture, they just had the bag and they just they're just handing it out.
Well, a big thing to also note is that they have a new head coach, so because Mike Budenholzer isn't there anymore, so it'll be interesting to see with a new head coach how that works. I mean, if you're a new head coach and the first your team trades for Dame Lillard in the offseason, you got to be pumped.
You got to
walk into that room,
you're like pumped. You're like, all right, we got some dogs in here.
I mean, that's like a Nick Nurse situation where your first year with the team, you're gonna win a championship potentially just because Dame's that kind of guy.
Yeah, because I pray to God he can stay healthy and stay on the court, because when he is on the court, he is he's special. He really is. He's so underrated. And I know for the longest time it's all we hear about is Dame, whatever. No, he is legitimately that guy. The Portland Trailblazers have been terrible for so long, and it's such a small market team that you don't hear anything about it. But he is legit. He has that killer instinct that you need out of a point guard to hit the big shots when you need them. And with Giannis being a fairly young but very, very talented superstar, and just being an absolute monster in the paint, that duo is going to be absolutely terrifying, because Dame is still very hungry. He wants that ring, and obviously he didn't want to leave Portland to do that. But I think him and Giannis are they're very similar in the way that they kind of go about basketball, because they're both very, very loyal. Dame didn't want to leave Portland. Giannis, I think he made some comment whenever he won his ring about how I feel like I did it the right way. He came up through the system. He won the ring with the team that drafted him. And I think that Dame would really appreciate that, joining that kind of culture where it's this is our leader, and he really appreciates that. So obviously Giannis probably has a ton of respect for Dame. So I think it's just, as cliche as it is, it's the perfect pairing.
Yeah.
It really
I want to give a ton of credit to the Boston Celtics organization, because I really doubt they knew that Drew Holiday was going to be moved. And they snatched right up on the opportunity where it's I give them a ton of credit, because the number one way you counteract what the Bucks did was to get Drew Holiday, who has experience guarding Dame in the playoffs. He's done it before and at a high level. Mm-hmm. And you just can't to have Derek White and Drew Holiday, who are two defensive guards who are really good, and then you still have your forwards in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, you're going to have to figure out your 5 spot a little bit moving off Robert Williams. But I think the Celtics got a lot better, and they almost counteracted the move that the Bucks did. And I give them a ton of credit because I think those two teams have really separated themselves out of the Eastern Conference now. It's a 2-team race. And maybe before you could have said, all right, the Celtics are still there with Miami because, Miami beat them last year. The Sixers, anything could happen. That series went to 7 last year. But now I think it's clearly the Bucks and Celtics to win the conference. And barring any injuries, I don't anticipate that changing.
No, I think that 100%. The East is going to run through Milwaukee most likely or Boston, just depending on how things shake out. But those are the two big dogs at the top, and it's going to be a bloodbath to see who wins it.
Yeah, I anticipate the Celtics will have a better regular season just because of their consistency. Whereas,
there
might be some more growing pains there. But even then, I just think Dame's such a natural fit with Giannis. I don't really see the growing pains being there.
I think it's going to take. They might have a rough, kind of earlier season, just literally figuring out how to play with each other.
I just imagine Giannis and Dame doing a pick and roll, and you have to decide if you're going to try to stay with Giannis so he doesn't just dunk on you, or if you're going to let Dame pull up for 3.
It's not fair. That is the exact combo. It's like the Kobe Shaq combo. It's how do you defend that?
That's what we needed Embiid and Harden to be, but
speaking of,
we're going to move to Jimmy Butler first before we get into the Sixers. Jimmy Butler last year decided, and if you don't know about it, please go look it up. Jimmy Butler last year decided to make his hair into these dirty dreads to go on,
rancid.
Get his picture. And it was because on media day, that's when they take the pictures for the NBA.com and everything for the year. So he made a joke and put his hair down in dreads. He knew everyone would talk about it. And I was kind of that's weird. This year he turns up in the most emo look possible. I was uncomfortable looking at Jimmy Butler.
It's probably not going to pick
up.
No,
it's not picking up.
Yeah,
but I was genuinely uncomfortable looking at Jimmy Butler talk to the media
because
with
he has
the piercings and he kept parting the hair off to the side.
It looked like a TikTok filter or something.
For all our YouTube video.
Yeah, I don't know if my hair's probably not long enough right now.
I got all the way down.
I know, yeah. So because I can kind of get it a little bit because my hair is that kind of style. But it was fully down past his eye. He had a fake eyebrow ring in. It was Jesus. It was lip ring. Yeah, it was hilarious, but also very uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was uncomfortable, but I just think it's so awesome that he doesn't care at all. Because that's I would certainly care if that was going to be my NBA.com picture and all my official pictures, and when he has to get credentialed and stuff for certain events, that's all going to be it. I give him credit for not caring because I think it looks so bad.
He's just there for the vibes at this
point. I love Jimmy Butler. He's so funny.
But another thing from Heat Media Day that just when I saw the picture of Bam, Tyler, and Jimmy Butler
again
standing next to each other again, I was just
face.
I know they've made finals, but I was just it's not enough.
First of all, Heat fans are in absolute shambles right now because they've been saying for probably, I think it was since Kevin Durant was a free agent, every single big name player that could have gone to the Heat, they said they were absolutely going to the Heat. And
LeBron went to the Miami Heat once, and then Miami fans since have just been delusional about their free agency
every single
chances.
Big free agent is going to go to Miami solely because they're Miami. It's
nope.
No. You can't just get a good player. You need to offer a good trade.
And I want to, you make a good point. I want to give Portland a ton of credit for not just caving in to Damian Lillard request and standing strong. Because some people are saying that Portland, the organization, blackballed the Miami Heat and said, we're not trading Dame to you no matter what. And honestly, to that, I say, good for Portland. I'm for players, sure. But I don't think it's appropriate for players just to push around the team and be I'm only going to this team. I won't show up to training camp if I go to this team. It's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Damian Lillard's pretending one of my things I've been very critical about Damian Lillard is, and maybe it's not even him, but it's the media. They always claim him as the loyalty guy.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who, look how loyal he is. He always stays true to Portland. He hasn't left his roots. Portland giving you $60 million a year to play for transfers. Hell, I'd be loyal.
Yeah.
If you were handing me $60 million and said, hey, all you got to do is stay in the city. You have your kids here. They like the school district, everything. We'll pay you $60 million. You can be the definition of loyalty. Sign me up. I don't consider Damian Lillard this guy where I'm you know what? Good for him for staying loyal because it's not hard to stay
'Cause-
loyal when you're making that much
And
money.
also, my thing is like the NBA is a business at the end of the day. Like
Yes.
there is no loyalty. Like let's be real. Holiday, he said he wanted to retire a buck, and they traded him the next day.
Yeah.
Like, look, there's no loyalty from front offices.
No.
Players should not have loyalties. Obviously, we respect 100% like
Patrick
when
Beverly
players
got
are.
traded to the Grizzlies, I think.
And
I
then,
think it was the
then he
Grizzlies.
got like traded immediately
and he was
after.
like, Grind City, let's go.
Yeah,
and then they
they're just
moved
like-
him off 20 seconds later.
Again, like that's my whole thing is like, because I really do appreciate like when players are loyal. It's like, to the teams that draft them or like to like a fan base to all that. But you're right.
I
it's a
just
business.
I just don't view Dame as a guy who was like, I give him credit for staying in Portland and sticking it out and never requesting a trade. But let's not pretend like he wasn't getting the bag to stay in Portland.
That's a
Portland
fair take.
always
Yeah.
could offer the
Yeah.
most amount of money possible.
And they
That's
did. Like they kept giving him the money.
The NBA has done a good job of this. The NBA has actually incentivized teams to retain their stars by having
Yep.
the team who drafted them be able to offer them the most money on contracts.
Mhm.
So this idea that Damian Lillard was just staying with the Trailblazers just because of how loyal he was is just wrong. That's because the NBA has incentivized stars to stay with the money. So I am very excited. This is shaking up to be a really interesting NBA because I feel like you have two teams vying for it right now in the East, which is fun. And then you have a couple teams vying for it out in the West. And I think that makes it really good. As much as people say they want parity in the NBA, you also want to see the big dogs go at it. And when a bunch of teams are kind of in the mix, sometimes you're like, all right, the Pacers made the play-in game, but are they really that good? No.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
when you have like the Bucks and the Celtics, and you probably think they're going to be the two best teams by far, and you're like, all right, let's wait for the Eastern Conference final. That's when the big guns come out. And over in the West, you have the Lakers, Nuggets, Suns, Clippers, Warriors, and it'll just be a bloodbath over there.
Yeah.
But I did want to talk about the Sixers a little bit, as Raj and I are resident Sixers
God,
fans.
here we go.
Their lack of activity in free agency and on the trade market, and now with James Harden not showing up to training camp, is an absolute disaster.
Dude, we're a meme team. Kelly Oubre, Mo Bamba,
Well,
Pat Bev.
I really like the move that the Sixers have made on the outsides to get players. But the problem lies in the fact that Milwaukee has Giannis and Dame paired with Chris Middleton.
Yep.
The Celtics have Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, and Jason Tatum, who are all really good. And the Sixers have fat James Harden, who doesn't want to come to training camp, Joel Embiid, and I love Tyrese Maxey, but Tyrese Maxey right now is more of a Chris Middleton player.
He's more of a really good role player.
Yeah, he needs to be the third round championship team right now, unless he takes a leap this year. And we need James Harden to actually be on the Sixers. James Harden doesn't want to be on the Sixers, and James Harden isn't as good as he used to be. So the Sixers right now are just in this no man's land where they're the third or fourth best team in the East if James comes back, which I don't think he's going to.
Nope.
But don't worry, guys. Joel Embiid made it very clear that he thinks that the Sixers roster is still better than both Milwaukee and Boston. Said that on air.
Because I think Joel Embiid believes the roster is better, like from top to bottom. I think he just thinks that James Harden needs to go for another player.
Oh my god!
And I don't know how they make the move happen.
Look,
I just hope
when he sniffs the conference championship, he can start talking.
So it's kind of a tough year. Coming in with the Sixers, I was always like, last year I didn't think they were going to be able to pull it out, but I was like, you know what? Maybe there's a world that it happens. A couple years before, I was always like, they always change things up enough where I was like, this could be the year. This could be the year if things break right. This is definitely not the year unless they make a major splash in the market. Now, this is Tobias Harris's last year on his contract, so they can be able to trade that contract away for expiring pieces. But just by the fact that you weren't able to trade away James Harden in the offseason, which I really think you needed to do, and he didn't show up to training camp, now his value is just in the tank.
Will the prodigal son Ben Simmons return?
You better hope
That would
not.
be the script writers would be cooking up a
They would
masterpiece.
be. I mean, they got to keep up with the NFL at this point.
Yeah.
They got to be able to start cooking.
The NBA is just a comedy show at this point.
If we
I
could-
wouldn't be surprised.
What celebrity who's single could an NBA star date to bring in viewership?
Is Dua Lipa single?
Kelly Oubre can get anyone he wants.
I don't know about Dua Lipa.
Oh wait, isn't she like she's from London?
Who can Kelly Oubre bag.
Like, who's a big touring?
Ice Spice.
Or yeah, that would be
Kelly
it.
Oubre bagging Ice Spice would be crazy.
Yeah, that would be it.
Okay, Ice Spice. Who do they go after?
Ice Spice.
I don't know.
Who's single in the NBA? I don't
Kevin
know.
Durant's not anymore. Him and Brittany Griner are dating apparently. I don't know if I was just getting lost on some Twitter like thread and people were capping and I wasn't paying close enough attention, but that sure looked like a hug to me.
Kelly Oubre's single.
You know what? Yeah, I think Ice Spice is it. But also, is Kelly Oubre on the same level as Travis Kelce?
But he's single, and Kelly
doesn't-
Oubre.
no. Doesn't
Kelly
help.
Oubre is a light skinned god. He can bag anyone he wants. It doesn't matter.
God.
Look at him.
Nah,
Look at him.
No. Jordan Poole. We're doing,
Okay,
we're doing
Jordan
the meme
Poole-
machine.
Okay, hold up. Jordan
meme
Poole's new
machine.
hair is bad though.
Yeah, I know, but we need the meme machine to date Ice Spice. There we go.
What? Hold up. You think that he could bag Ice Spice? Yeah, no. There it is.
Anyway, that's the lack of that's the NBA content for the day. I'm very excited the season's coming back. What I will say though is I think the NBA really does need to shorten their season and push this October date into November and December because it makes no sense for week 5 of the NFL. It'll be week 6 or 7. Week 6 or 7 of the NFL to overlap with the NBA and for the MLB playoffs to overlap. Like that's really silly, especially since MLB viewership is up. So more so than ever, 'cause I wasn't a big MLB fan until like end of last year and then into this year.
when the Phillies became good.
When the Phillies became good, exactly.
Again.
But now that I'm looking at it, it's so stupid for the NBA to start
It really
at
is.
this time.
Like September,
one-
October are
No one
dominated
wants to
by
play
football.
82 games.
Yeah.
So just push the season back till after the World Series. Start it right away after the World Series. You have less games. Players will be happier. The games will mean more.
Yeah,
And then it's later in because you obviously have to overlap the NBA
a little
season
bit. Yeah,
and that season, but especially because the MLB is every day. Like the first round of this game is 3 consecutive days and whatever. So I just think it's stupid. Anyway, moving on. It's good to have NBA back.
Yes.
NFL, big
right.
week in the NFL. I felt like this was. I keep saying it's crazy, but I just feel like again this is just a weird week of football.
So do you want me to speed run through some of the games?
So Peter's going to speed run through all the games, and then we'll pick a few out to.
Yes. Okay.
Analyze critically.
So we started off Thursday Night Football. Lions Packers. Lions big win at Lambeau. First time they were favored there in like 18 years against the quarterback, the first string quarterback for the Packers. Huge win, biting some kneecaps. They look legit. They should win this division.
I was quick on the Lions.
Yep.
They went from like everyone thinks they're going to win the NFC to oh my gosh, we're really not there yet. To now everyone thinks they're going to win the NFC.
It's just they're just back and forth every week. Okay, now Falcons Jags. The Jags are playing in their second home stadium in London.
I saw Woody hit the gritty.
Yes, Woody did hit the gritty. For those that don't know, they were for some reason the NFL did some like Toy Story
With
VR
Disney Plus,
thing
yeah.
with Disney Plus.
So
It was
weird.
very, very weird, but very hilarious to watch Bijan Robinson snap somebody's ankles in a Toy Story format. So that was
And Slinky Dog being the chain marker was so funny.
That's goated. So no one's really surprised that the Jags won there. Falcons kind of got to figure it out.
I will say
But-
I made an overreaction on a couple pods ago if you want to check it out where I was like, maybe the Falcons are a quarterback away and really good.
Well,
they're not. They're
No,
horrible.
well, I mean, look, they're traveling to London, so it's going to be hard to do.
Yeah, but they scored 3 points last week and 7 points this week. Desmond Ritter, he's got to go.
Yeah. Then we have Rams Colts. Really good game by Anthony Richardson. He looks legit. But unfortunately, the fourth quarter comeback king Matt Stafford decided, no, I'm going to be throwing the ball to Puka Nacua 55 times today, and he's going to score a touchdown to walk off in Indianapolis. That was a very entertaining game, fully through. Ravens Browns. Browns suck ass without Deshaun Watson. Ravens look pretty solid. What was the quarterback's name that was playing for the Browns? DTR.
Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Yes, he looks bad. That's really the big update. Deshaun Watson, you need to start playing for that team again.
The Browns are just this story where they need to figure out the offense, and it sucks that Nick Chubb's gone because I really think they're at the Ravens level. Their defense is so good.
The defense is so good.
Also, the Ravens, I still don't think they're good enough.
No, because whatever. We're not going to get into it.
Later.
Okay, so Vikings Panthers. Vikings really didn't want to win this game at all. Kirk Cousins was trying his best to throw this game away, even threw a 99-yard pick six, and then got obliterated trying to make a tackle.
That was one of the craziest things I've ever seen because you watched Kirk make the whole entire run back, and you were like, is he going to tackle the guy to stop him? And then all of a sudden
I don't know who 29 on the Carolina Panthers defense. He was running he was running like DK Metcalf trying to take down Budda Baker.
I give Kirk credit for standing in there. Dude, you just got to get out of there at that point.
Yeah.
He got
He got
demolished.
He got obliterated. Like I legitimately, when I saw that, I was like, he might have broken every single one of his ribs.
It was a significant hit.
Yeah. But yeah, so update on Bryce Young, he's bad. All right.
Alabama QBs aren't good in the NFL.
They're not, apparently. Bengals Titans. Bengals, hit the panic button. It's over. Blow up the team. You should have let Joe Burrow rest. He does not look like he is going to survive the season at this rate. Their offensive line looks awful.
Hindsight's always 20/20, but the fact that you're 1-3 and you've been working with Joe Burrow's injury all these weeks is just like you could have signed Carson Wentz to a game, had him go 1-3, and now Joe Burrow's at least healthy.
Yeah.
And Derrick Henry's still him, by the way.
And T. Higgins is hurt.
T. Higgins is out with a rib injury for
and he should have signed a contract last year.
Yep.
Yes. Bucks Saints. Baker. He's him.
Tampa Baker.
He's legit. Tampa Baker is legit. Not legit, but like the Saints look very bad.
He's fun.
He's fun. He's really fun to watch. Love watching him. I really think it's a perfect fit for him there. Love that culture. Love that energy for him.
It does make you think that the reason Tom Brady was ready to move on was because maybe the team was just a little better than we all thought, and a solid quarterback can play there because the Bucks are kind of playing like the Bucks played when Tom Brady was there towards the end of his career.
A little scrappy, little.
So it kind of adds a little bit more to the. This is probably why Tom retired, because he knew he wasn't actually that good. His team, the football team, is just a good football team.
Exactly. Yeah. And Saints, I don't even know what that was. You look bad. Figure it out.
They can't do anything on offense.
Nope.
Was Derek Carr playing?
Yeah.
Yeah, Derek Carr,
Kamara's back too.
was playing. Michael Thompson, Chris Olave. They've got guys on offense. Their defense hasn't let up 20 points in like the last 13 games or something. It's a ridiculous. It's like the whole Broncos stat from last year.
Yeah.
They scored more than 18 points, they'd be 10-0 or whatever.
Yeah.
The Saints have a really good defense. They just can't play any offense, which is strange with the personnel they have.
Yeah, very weird. So Dolphins, Bills we'll talk about. Broncos, Bears we'll talk about. Commanders, Eagles. I had full confidence that they were going to win this game. I knew it was going to be an ugly win. I want to make that very clear. I never doubted for a second that the Eagles were going to lose, unlike the Eagles fans in the room.
Raj,
Sell the team.
Sam Howell fan club is back.
Sure.
Back in session.
For now until we play him again.
Sam Howell looks pretty good. He was able to kind of put some drives together. Looked very solid.
I had so many heart attacks.
Fighting in there.
4-0.
Eagles are the ugliest 4-0 I've seen in a while.
4-0 Bears.
Probably, I'd argue they are probably the worst 4-0 I've seen since the 2021 Steelers.
Yeah.
And that was bad.
Yeah.
But they were in the Super Bowl last year and they're 4-0.
And they're 4-0, so whatever. The Steelers, Texans. Steelers, you are bad. Fire Matt Canada immediately for drawing up a shotgun pass on 4th and 1 and near tearing Kenny's ACL. I hate you, Matt Canada.
I did want to stop for 1 minute and talk about this.
Okay.
Kenny Pickett is an old quarterback coming into the league. He was a 5th-year starter at Pitt.
An 8th-year starter, whatever.
Comes into Pittsburgh. He's already 25, 26, whatever he is. Doesn't have a great first
year.
About
to turn 25, but yeah.
About to turn 25.
Yeah.
25 years old. Doesn't have a great first year, but it's his first year in the system. He picked up the job halfway through. They do need to I know every Steelers fan thinks they should fire Matt Canada, so it's not a hot take, but
it's egregious.
They need to figure out if Kenny Pickett can actually play quarterback.
Because at this rate,
they used a first round pick on him,
Yeah.
and he's probably not going to get significantly better than he is in the next year or two. So you need to figure out like ASAP if he can play quarterback or not and be the quarterback for your future, because that defense is really good.
Yeah. And the issue is that you have no idea if he's good or not because this offense is so terrible. It's like what is he even supposed to be doing with this?
It's not like we see a really good quarterback with a bad offensive coordinator and we know he'll get there eventually. It's like we don't know if Kenny Pickett is good or not.
Because they just never throw the ball. Whenever they do, it's a terribly designed play. And it's like, oh, he's throwing it into double coverage. It's like, what is he supposed to do?
Because at least with like someone like Justin Fields, we'll talk about later, you can be like, I see the talent there. I don't see the natural talent with Kenny Pickett, so I need to know if he can play in a good design system.
Yeah.
And Matt Canada isn't offering that right now.
Exactly.
And Mike Tomlin is not on that side of the football. So you need to go in and try to get some creative play caller off the block. I don't know if you need to go down the Mike McDaniel, Kyle Shanahan coaching tree and try to find someone that'll do something creative, but they got to figure something out because they need to start thinking about drafting a quarterback in the next year or two.
Yeah.
They want to keep TJ Watt sensational,
He's so good.
Mhm.
and they're just going to waste him if they don't have an offense to play.
Also, CJ Stroud is him. I think he's gonna break the Ohio State quarterback curse.
He's beating the allegations
He's
right
beating the
now.
allegations, and he is significantly better than Bryce Young.
Yes.
All right.
He doesn't even have a good wide receiver core.
Okay,
it's like
don't
average.
disrespect Nico Collins.
No,
like
I
that.
will keep disrespecting Nico
it's not-
Collins.
No. Okay, it's not like obviously he's probably got a better receiving core than Bryce. Young, but like it's
Not
not
saying much though.
Yeah.
It's not like saying a ton because it's not like he has like multiple like top 10 receivers like
Mhm.
in his core. It's like, you have pretty solid receivers, but like he's throwing 300 yards a game.
Yeah.
And Bryce Young can't even get like 150. Anyway, 49ers, this is my petition for Christian McCaffery as MVP. He is the best player in the NFL. I will hear nothing else. He is carrying one of the best offenses in the league. That offense is run through Christian McCaffrey and by Christian McCaffrey alone. He is the MVP. I don't want to hear anything otherwise. No quarterback right now is doing anything better than him.
I
Great.
can't believe Carolina did that.
They were tanking.
I don't think Carolina should regret the decision.
No.
Because
Well, they're probably someone we're going to play. That's why I'm a little.
Oh, I see.
oh, I see. Yeah.
Then we have Patriots, Cowboys. Patriots hit the panic button. Send Mac Jones to the sun. Get him out of there. Cowboys, that was a pretty dominating win. Your defense, yep, still pretty good. And Bill Belichick, your ass is on the hot seat now if you don't get rid of Mac Jones. I'm going to say that right now.
They just no offensive talent whatsoever on
Nope.
that team. Their offensive line's super injured. They're playing third strings there. Their offensive line's the worst it is in the league. Is like the worst in the league right now.
Oh,
They have-
really?
I mean, they've got like third string guys playing there. They
Wow.
have nobody protecting Mac Jones. Their wide receiver core consists of Juju, who before the season, quote, his knee might explode. Then Kevin Bourne.
Kendrick
Bourne.
It's a Kendrick Bourne. Kenyon Bourne. I think it's Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah.
Bourne, whoever he is, which kind of looks good at times. Hunter Henry and Mike Gesicki.
Those are really good tight ends.
So
Yeah.
that's really weird. Like Bill Belichick was like, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get any wide receivers. But they were like, let's double, triple down
on
Tight
tight
ends.
ends.
tight ends.
Why?
And then I guess they thought Ramondre Stevenson was going to be like good, really good, but he's just okay.
Well, because the whole thing is that like they had a much better offensive line last
Mm-hmm.
year, so he was able to like get some like running holes like going whatever. Blah,
And
blah.
some of it with the Patriots is
Yeah.
unfortunate. Like Cole Strange is injured right now. The guy I
Yeah.
drafted in the
Yeah,
first
yeah,
round,
yeah.
who's actually good, and everyone memed them for the pick. But they just need more talent. There's nowhere you look like Matthew Judon is like cool. But
Well,
like,
he just tore his bicep, so he might
Yeah.
be out for the season.
he's out for the season, but he was cool, but he's not close to the best in the league.
No.
And then they have Christian Gonzalez, who they just got who's really good.
Also hurt.
But yeah. And then otherwise, you're just kind of like, there's no star power there. So they need to actually be bad so they can draft a guy. Like, it's in the Patriots' best interest to go get Marvin Harrison by
Honestly,
being bad, because you need to increase the overall talent on your team. This is what the Bengals did, and they probably still need to get a better O-line, but they increased the overall talent on their team
mhm.
by drafting Jamar Chase. And at least you could see for the years that they were good, they're bad
Yep.
now. At least you could see where you were like, we have a really good quarterback and we're going to get a really good receiver and we're going to run through that.
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing with the Eagles. The Eagles were like, we're going to get Devontae
AJ
Brown.
Smith.
Okay.
Devontae Smith.
We're going to get Devontae Smith,
Brown.
AJ Brown. We're going to just
Yeah.
increase the overall talent on the roster. And they
The
didn't really
entire
worry about-
Georgia defense.
Yeah, the entire Georgia defense. Yeah.
But the Patriots are like, we're going to find the diamonds in the rough. We're going to just keep being okay and not get good picks. And now they're not able to actually increase their level of play to a significant level.
Mhm.
And you got Mac Jones throwing to guys who could easily be replaced.
Mhm.
Also, Mac Jones, scumbag. Just need to say
Yeah.
that right now, scumbag. I don't like him. He is the Grayson Allen of the NFL right now. I really don't like him. I'm sorry.
I would be more okay with it if he was backing it up with like, I don't want to say he has to back up cheap shots, but at least if he was like a dog on the field and doing really well, and he's just a really competitive guy, and he gets in like.
But there's a difference
sucks.
between like, he's like really competitive and like just like nut tapping somebody.
Yeah,
like that's so soft. Like, what is wrong with you?
the nut tap was weird.
Yeah, like
Enough about Mac
enough
Jones
about
and
this.
nuts.
I hate him. Whatever. Okay, so let's.
Oh, real quick,
Oh,
just
yeah,
because
go.
Bill Belichick reminded me of it. Did you see the video of Sean Payton cutting off his sleeve
Yeah.
on
Oh
his
my
jacket
God,
mid-game?
yes, I did
It
see
reminded
that.
me of Bill Belichick in his cutoff
Oh yeah,
sweaters. Like I
That's
know
what-
he didn't cut it up that high, but it just reminded
Yeah.
me of that. And I was like,
yeah. For those that don't know, you know what? We can actually just go right into Broncos Bears with
Yeah.
this. That's actually a solid transition.
Mhm.
For some reason, Sean Payton decided to. I think because he was like in the sun, he was like wearing a sweatshirt. So instead of like taking his sweatshirt off like a normal human being, he just had one of his like assistant coaches run up with a pair of scissors and like cut like not even
Like the cuffs. off
it's
the
like
sweater.
just like the front like part
like
of
if you go to your elbow pit and then like
it's like
go down your forearm
about like
another
halfway.
3-4 inches.
Yeah, it's like
that's where they cut it.
and they just cut like the sleeves off. And it's like, okay, like did that really help that much? Like, are you really that much cooler now just because like you cut like the whatever? It
I
was
mean,
so weird.
it worked.
It,
It worked.
it was super strange. I don't know if it was a superstition thing, but Broncos beat the Bears 31-28. Justin, I saw someone tweeted at halftime. They're like, "That was the best half Justin Fields has ever played."
It was a work of art because
Because
he looked
so
so
good.
good, and he was a pocket passer. And he was. I remember we were blowing up our group chat. We were like, "Oh my god, they figured it out."
Because he actually like, it wasn't like Justin Fields was playing really good as a runner, and we're just like, well, he's also making passes. He was sitting in the pocket. He would come like if the pressure came, he would actually step up in the pocket.
Yeah,
and try
then
to make a throw
throw.
out of the pocket. And if he didn't, then he would just run out like any other quarterback does. He wasn't looking to run. And I was like, this looks great. And then second half, fumble and an interception and no offense. And Broncos come back.
Well, so first of all, Broncos defense, the fact that you made the Bears offense look competent. What is going on with your defense? That is horrible. Anyway, yeah, I mean, Justin Fields, he looked like a completely different player in the second half. Maybe it was the Broncos defense finally made some adjustments and figured it out how to stop the Bears offense. Also, they had an absolutely terrible decision to go for it on 4th and 1 by just handing the ball directly to Khalil Herbert after handing the ball to him previously and not gaining many yards. It's like, dude, they know you're going to – everybody in that stadium knew that Khalil Herbert was getting the ball.
Mhm.
It's like, hey, maybe this one time give it to your athletic freak of a quarterback and just run a read option.
This is what I was going to say about the 4th and 1. There's very creative offenses in the league. You see what the Eagles do, and everyone hates the brotherly shove play, but it works. And then you look at Miami's offense, which is a bunch of motion to catch the defenses off guard. And the Bears have no better solution on 4th and 1 than a handoff to the running back. Their quarterbacks are running like do what the Eagles do.
Yeah.
Justin Fields is Jalen Hurts, like build wise.
Bigger.
Yeah, but they're very similar build. Just try to shove them through, and if it doesn't work, be like, you know what? We saw it done in Philadelphia a bunch, and we liked our chances.
He's like 6'4". Just take the snap and jump the line.
Yeah,
like whatever. Like just like
we know
reach
Justin
over
Fields
and
does not have problems doing that. It's not like
No,
he's gonna be
like,
hesitant.
He's 227.
yeah, he's 6'4", 227. Like he's a big dude. Like just jump, just like have him take the ball, jump the line, or run a read option. Like he could fall forward and get 3
It's
yards.
just dumb coaching.
Yeah, like I don't know.
I hate to like just be like Eagles, but the Eagles. Everyone hates the Eagles. Do it. They do the brotherly shove play all the time. It always works.
Yeah, like who cares?
line up, either shove him in there or have him sneak the ball, jump the line, have him do a
something.
QB draw or make him be a
was
playmaker.
Fourth, it was like it wasn't even 4th like a long one, like almost 2. It was like 4th and like a foot.
Yeah.
Like you can get that.
And they were in field goal range.
Yeah.
Which is also like I get the whole like, okay, you know
go
what?
for it
We
to
go
ice
for
the
it.
game,
Yeah.
whatever. But like terrible coaching, terrible decision. Oh my god.
And it's exactly what that team didn't need. It's not like they're the tanking Panthers or the tanking Cardinals, and you're like, it's fine. We lost the game, no big deal.
Yeah.
The Bears need to win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They do have both. They do have 2 picks, really good picks, which is like cool, but their culture is so bad right now that they need to win football games. So I don't get the whole mentality of like, no, let's just ice the game. Like you're not good enough just to ice the game.
It's like, no, you kick the field goal and you hope that the Broncos offense is bad, which they are.
Also,
Yeah.
the Bears have the Panthers pick, so they're going to be getting a good pick no matter what.
Yeah.
So who cares if your Panthers have a top 3 pick? You can afford to be okay and have some moral victories and get the 6th pick or 7th pick.
Actually build a team that is worthwhile having one of those top overall picks to add to, because like that's my whole thing is like you can add as many first round talents to a team as you want. If you don't have a culture, you don't have a head coach, you don't have all the people like around a team, they're not going to be good. Like it doesn't matter.
Both these two teams actually, it's like the battle of horrible teams, but also just infuriating like team cultures.
Yeah.
This whole entire year, like everything the Bears have done frustrates me, especially because of the whole MVP talk, and everything with Sean Payton and the Broncos has just driven me up the wall.
They're just bad. They're just bad, and it's really sad to see because like the league's better when because the Bears are such a historic team that it's good when you have those like teams with like really long histories, like be at least solid. So it's like, okay, like this is where like a lot of the tradition from the NFL comes from. And they have been a poorly run franchise since like Jay Cutler was there. Like, I don't know. And of course, this is coming from a Giants fan. Like, I know we're terrible. Like, I get it.
And it's not like the NFC North is really good too. And it's like, well, you listen, like we didn't really have a chance of competing with the top dogs. You could easily be in that second spot competing hard. Like, I mean, I would say the Packers are not as good as they could have been going into the year. The Vikings clearly are not as good. That second spot's open. That second spot's open for them, and they're not good enough to take it.
Yeah.
Matt Eberflus is saying that Chase Claypool didn't show up to the game, but then the owner is saying that they said just for him to stay home.
Another one, just send him to the sun. Like, get him out.
Like take him off the team.
Like, and it's like, oh, we're looking for trade options. No one's trading for him.
Didn't they trade a second for him?
They traded it was a second one. It was been a first.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They essentially traded the number 32 overall pick for him.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, like they traded a late first round pick for Chase Claypool.
And now with both the Bears and the Panthers being winless, God, like Caleb Williams
he's going to stay in college.
If you think of the Bears,
his dad said if it's a bad team, he's not declaring.
But the thing is that depending on how the year shakes out, he either actually, now that I think about it, he probably actually wouldn't stay because they both have quarterbacks, and they probably wouldn't take quarterbacks, and then he'd be more likely to end up. So I was just thinking out loud there. But so if you have Panthers. So if you have like Chicago and the Panthers, essentially, Chicago has both their picks. So it would be like Chicago first two, then you would have like probably Arizona.
Well, real quick before you going, good thing the Panthers don't have that pick because Bryce Young, like even based on year one, you can make a legitimate argument that they should have just drafted Caleb Williams and trade Bryce Young. Like Bryce Young is lucky he doesn't have to deal with that potential controversy in Carolina.
That would have been insane.
It would actually be a debate.
Yeah, I feel like you could legitimately make that debate because of how bad he's been so far.
And of course, just by Caleb Williams being as good as he is.
Yeah, like he's thrown, I think it was like 21 touchdowns and like 3 interceptions in like 4 games or something. That's like
he's
unreal.
insane.
It's unreal. He's legit.
Me and my dad were talking about it. A lot of quarterbacks in college don't look like NFL quarterbacks because they're doing a lot more running and whatnot. Caleb Williams treats it absolutely like he's a NFL quarterback. Yep. He drops back, he goes through his reads. Yep. He runs when he needs to run, whereas you have a lot of other quarterbacks who look like they're kind of just going out there and like
they're kind of just doing stuff.
Yeah, they're just kind of like doing stuff because they're athletic and they're able to.
Whatever. But I think it depending on what team is like 3 or 4, if they need a quarterback or not, he may like it would be like Arizona. They might stick with Kyler Murray. They could draft him to Arizona, but like that would be the debate. It's like, okay, well, do we think that Chicago is going to move on from Justin Fields and just draft Caleb Williams? Or are they going to stick to the guns, draft 2 other great players to put around him, and then maybe he'll fall into like the later high round picks. So then maybe, hey, you could end up on a team that just sucked this year and could turn it right around.
Real quick, if you have pick 1 and 2 and you're the Bears, what do you do?
Receiver.
You draft. So you have picks 1 and 2. Where do you go? Even if you don't want to name the player, positionally, where do you go? I would go quarterback and the offensive lineman from Penn State.
For the Bears? For the Bears.
I would draft Caleb Williams, and I would get the offensive tackle from Penn State.
Yeah, I would have to go their O-line, which is terrible, and I don't know if Fields is him. So
yeah, I would need to look. I would definitely. I would try to trade Fields to like, I don't know.
Unless you make an argument that you go offensive tackle Marvin Harrison and try to just give him the best shot
around him.
But then if you
If you mess that up, you're screwed.
I would, if you were a GM and you
see
skip
Caleb
out
Williams,
on
you
Caleb
gotta take
Williams,
that, man.
and then you build a good team, but Justin Fields still sucks, and you
You're
watch
screwed.
Caleb Williams go win an MVP, you're never going to get a job again.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think, I honestly, you take Caleb Williams, and depending on the health of Marvin Harrison Jr., I would either take him or the tackle from Penn State. Just kind of see, because Marvin Harrison Jr., if he is if he stays healthy, he's okay. He's another generational talent at receiver, and I am one of the people that loves building from the trenches first, but I mean, good Lord, you can't deny that he is unbelievable. So
Marvin Harrison.
Yeah,
he's a guy like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase coming out.
He's easily the best receiver in the class. He's the true number one below Caleb Williams. So. Yeah, so that's Broncos Bears. That was a
lot there. And I just can't stand the Sean Payton. We talk about it so much. I just cannot stand
hate him. Whatever.
Anyway, Chiefs Jets. Raj, what do you think about the game?
The refs threw it at the end. That was dumb.
I'm glad that's your entire take.
Besides that, Zach Wilson actually showed some sparks of being good, which was kind of shocking.
That was pretty surprising.
The Chiefs were, what was it? Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes.
Kelce, it looked like Mahomes was out of sync.
Yeah, something was wrong with Mahomes that game
because he was able to get it to Kelce earlier, and then the Jets kind of shifted. They started playing him a little bit more. But he was through like bad interceptions. Like they were just like underthrown. They weren't thrown well.
I think the problem was he was just getting too fancy with this like float. He was trying to
he kept trying to float everything, and it was like it didn't look like his normal passes. It was weird.
He just said he like just effing throw it.
I think the Chiefs came in this game and they said, "Y'all, there ain't no way the Jets are scoring on our defense because we've been playing so well."
And then
they were like, "So let's do like just kind of like mess around offensively,
Yeah.
Jets defense will get enough points on them to win the game big." And then the first interception happened. You could see Mahomes after the first interception. He was like looking at his hand. He was like, "Man, I really just like underthrew that ball. Oh well."
Yeah.
And then he did it a second time. Then it was like, "Oh, the game is really close."
Yeah. Because I think they drastically underestimated the Jets defense, I think, because their defense is really good. Like there's no weak links in that defense anywhere. Their front four is terrifying. With Quinn Williams, they have Jermaine Johnson. So Quinn Williams D tackle, Jermaine Johnson edge rusher. They have very solid linebackers. Mosley was all over the field last year. Obviously Sauce Gardner, he was a lockdown. I think they threw it to him like maybe twice the entire game. Even their safeties, like Jordan Whitehead was laying the boomstick on people the entire game. Like he looked like a monster out there. Like their defense is so good, and they legitimately are a quarterback away. And oh my God, Zach Wilson looked like that quarterback for a second. It was insane. And I was like, I don't know where it came from, because Zach Wilson last year hated being on this team, was very arrogant. There's like the whole clip of him saying like, "Oh, did you let the defense down?" He's like, "No." And he like clearly let them
Didn't
down.
they score like 3 points that game?
They scored like 3
too?
points. Yeah. They didn't score a touchdown, and they like ended up losing because of a punt six. But
and he blamed himself.
He
for this game.
Like, he looked like a completely different player. The way he presented himself, the way he was like throwing the ball, like he needed to get into a rhythm. But once he did get into the rhythm, you saw the talent that's there.
And this is demonstrates why the Jets have been sticking with him.
Yeah,
because
I got so much respect for Robert Saleh. Yeah, so much respect for him for like sticking with his guns, like doubling down, saying, "No, this is our player. Like he is our guy." Defending him, getting dragged through the mud for doing that. Wasn't it
100%?
Wasn't it Joe Namath was like, "Get him out"?
Joe Namath. Last night on the NBC, the Peacock broadcast after the game, they were asking Chris Jones about how bad he like. In this, I don't know who it was.
It was Clark.
Ryan Clark.
No.
No. Hang on. Wait. Let me look.
I know. I literally saw the clip.
But we'll get the name. He was grilling Chris Jones with these questions like, "Well, you took the game lightly because he sucks."
Rodney Harrison.
He's like, Zach Wilson sucks, so you probably didn't try that hard. And Chris Jones is like, "No, we got a lot of respect for Zach Wilson. He played a really good game." And he's like, but like deep in the back of your head, you knew they never had a shot because that quarterback isn't good.
Chris Jones was like,
And Christian,
no.
no, we didn't think that. He played a really good game. And then he also was like, yeah, okay, Rodney Harrison. He was like, yeah, but he still sucks. And then like, I think Tony Dungy was on the call too, and he was just kind of like, at some point he was laughing, but I think he was so much like,
he was so uncomfortable.
He was so uncomfortable. He was like, bro, like, this is another human being who played.
Yeah, it was so.
I know it's not
so
an accomplishment for. Like, I mean, that's Zach Wilson's best game of his NFL career.
Yeah,
and that's not really a good thing because he didn't even play like outstanding.
But against a solid defense and like seeing it click, like,
and give the guy a win, and they're just like grilling into him.
Well, it was literally just Rodney Harrison, which was very weird because it was like, I think at one point Chris Jones was like, yeah, you know, like he was drafted number 2 overall, like he's special, he has talent, and then Rodney Harrison's like, whoa, wait, did you just say Zach Wilson is special? And he's like, yeah.
It was very
so
strange.
weird. Because like obviously Zach Wilson didn't. You're right. He didn't have the greatest game. They were really picking up momentum. But he ended up having like a bad fumble and like a snap exchange. That would really just broke their back. Give
the guy his kudos for the game.
But I don't know what Aaron Rodgers did coming to this team, but he completely changed like Zach Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know if it was Rodgers or if it was like the new quarterback coach that they're talking to him
I
about.
almost think it was just Aaron Rodgers gave Zach Wilson a security blanket where for one, Zach Wilson didn't feel like he had New York City on his entire back.
Yeah.
And he could just be like, it's Aaron's team. And now this year, like no one expected Zach Wilson to come in and be the backup and carry them to the playoffs. Like that wasn't, everyone thought they were cooked once Aaron Rodgers went down. And I feel like that almost like loosens him up a little bit more. Whereas before it was like, he needed to find an out because he was supposed to be the guy to get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
But now that guy is which the most underrated part of the whole game was Aaron Rodgers was actually putting weight on his foot.
He looked like he could walk on it.
Yeah, that was weird.
I don't know what they're doing over there. I don't know what ayahuasca he's using.
I'm telling you, there are certain NFL players have to be a part of a super soldier program because Nick Chubb's knee should have been blown in half. Damar
Hamlin came back to life.
Damar Hamlin came back to life. Who else was I saying? I was making a joke earlier. Oh, David Njoku just like burning half of his body and just still playing the next day. Like there are just certain players.
I watched Aaron like roll his foot a little bit, putting weight on it on his crutch. I was like, this guy had Achilles surgery, a fully torn Achilles, and
like
had surgery
weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Like, and he's just like putting weight on it. It's like this is impossible. Like, there's no way. And he looks fine. It doesn't look it's hurting him at all.
I saw him throw one football, and he had.
I saw it.
I was like, oh,
you can see him. You can see on the side. It's like, hey, throw me one.
Yeah,
hey, let me get one. It's like, oh my god, this if he manages to come back off of an Achilles tear this season and lead them to the playoffs, I think Damar Hamlin's gonna have a run for his money as comeback player of the year.
I just don't think there's enough. They're too far.
He should not. He absolutely should
not.
Well,
they're 1-3. It's going to be nearly impossible, but you're right. If Damar Hamlin's quaking right now,
he's like, oh wait, I might not win this. But he absolutely should not play. But I mean, that's really encouraging though for Jets fans because I mean, like, hey, like you might have to kind of write this year off as like a scratch. But I mean, looking at the team, the culture is just it's there. The culture's there. Every single player is there supporting Zach Wilson. They believe in him, even though they know, like, you know, he's going to make mistakes, all that. They believe in him. They're buying into this team. And if Aaron Rodgers comes back looking arguably the same as he was, I think that they'll be able to, because, I mean, hell, this year, if they end up just tanking, they could go get a better offensive lineman and help beef that thing up.
I know there's the report saying the defense is extremely frustrated with Zach Wilson. I think those reports are all overblown. Like, yeah, you would be frustrated if your defense is really good.
But you're not going to sit there and be like, yeah, I hate my offensive players. It's like, no. Like,
if you're Sauce Gardner and you're looking and you're like, man, we're always on the field. Like, you know why you're always on the field? It's because your star quarterback you just traded for is injured.
That's it's the situation that's frustrating.
It's not where you're like, damn, I don't know. Like, if I was the Saints defense, I'd be pissed off. Yes. I'd be like, we clearly have talent. Like, we traded for Derek Carr to be better on offense, and we're still not good.
Yeah.
That's frustration, but it's clear why the Jets aren't good at offense. It's because
they lost their star quarterback. That was their entire point. Yeah.
Just a quick note: Taylor Swift
took over New York.
Everyone's talking about it, but there's a reason everyone's talking about it is because the amount of sales and the amount of publicity that this has gotten is it's so good for the NFL needs to pay Taylor.
Yeah,
Like
honestly.
NIL, whatever it is. Like,
Yeah.
she's promoting the
I
NFL
know.
just by virtue of like
Yeah.
showing up to games.
Yeah. Like the ratings are going through the roof every single game that she's at. And I mean,
Travis's jersey sales are all the way up.
Yeah, it's genuinely it is hilarious how much the NFL is buying into this, because you can tell like the different NFL fans where it's like you have like a majority of the NFL fans are like, all right, yeah,
I
cool.
would say a lot of majority likes it. I think
it's cool.
I think
like,
I think it adds an
it's
extra
fun.
dimension.
It's yeah, because it's like the whole thing is like, it's so like weird. It's such a weird combo when you like take a step back from it. It's like, wait, like you have like Taylor Swift fans and NFL fans feel like complete opposite ends of like the internet and like pop culture, but then now you just like crash them together, and it's like, oh, now they have to kind of like figure each other out, and it's like, you have like all these like announcers they're trying to like put in like all the Taylor Swift songs, like whatever, and it's like it's fun, like whatever. It's a new wrinkle in the NFL.
I was talking to my dad about this. I was like, there's no better way. Like stereotypically, you'd be like, oh, girlfriend or like wife, like babe, turn off the football game. Yeah. I don't want to hear it anymore. Go
versus
and do church.
What channel is it on?
But now it's like now you're uniting families because you're like, oh, we gotta go watch.
Or you
Travis
have like
Kelce's. We gotta go watch Taylor Swift's boyfriend play football.
Exactly. Or it's like you have like the daughter that doesn't want to like watch anything to do with football, and then she's like kind of coming down and is like, oh, is Taylor Swift on tonight? It's like, yeah, she is. Yeah, she is. They'll cut to her like she's the offensive coordinator.
Swift and Travis Kelce are uniting families.
They are, and like
they're going to bring the divorce rate of this country down.
I'm telling you. But that's the whole thing. It's like obviously like the NFL is like really, really buying into this, and I could see the argument where people are coming from, where it's like, it feels to a certain extent, it's very obvious that the NFL is just cashing in on this. Like, it's very obvious that that's what they're doing. And I could see the argument there.
The broadcast lasted like 50 seconds last night before mentioning it. Like, they're clearly trying to cash in on it.
No, but and then that's my thing. It's like when people are coming at it of like, oh my God, I'm kind of tired of the NFL constantly being a cash cow. Fine. I could see that argument. The NFL's been doing stuff like this for decades. But when people are like, I hate seeing Taylor Swift, why is she on the screen? It's like, bro, she's the biggest pop star on the planet. No duh. She's dating the best tight end in the league. Like, obviously they're going to be showing this. Like, what do you mean? Why do we care about this? It's like, oh God, that stuff drives me insane, because you get like the NFL incels that are like, I don't like it. It's like, all right, man. Like,
no, the media is just glazing it now.
It would be. I wouldn't say it's a necessarily equivalent comparison. It'd be like if Jason Tatum was dating like Olivia Rodrigo, or something like that.
Obviously, they would talk about
minus the age difference, but
ignoring that, but like the popularity levels, But like, it's wild, and. I don't think she's going to be at the Minnesota game, I'm guessing. But look,
is it at Minnesota?
Yes, at Minnesota. There's look, if she's at this Minnesota game, there's no way this is a publicity stunt, because who goes to Minnesota? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But obligatory Taylor talk out of the way.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then we're going down to Dolphins, Bills. For some reason, like the Bills were favored to win this football game. All the smart like football bettors all thought the Bills would cover it, and they did.
Miami hadn't won 7 straight games going into their in Buffalo.
It just felt like a game that the Dolphins were going to lose.
They were going to lose. They were coming off the hangover. I
didn't expect them to lose by 28, but I think the Bills look really good, and we'll talk about it when we get to the power rankings.
Yeah,
but I don't think this knocks the Dolphins too much. Like, I think they just kind of walked into a buzzsaw.
Yeah. Because they historically have not done well there. It's like when New England would go down to Miami. They historically just didn't play well there when they still had great teams and stuff. Like, this was gonna, we all knew this was kind of gonna happen. Like, when you're coming off of a 70-point win, winning by 50, obviously you're not gonna do as well. Like, they're coming off a bit of the hangover, whatever. And you're right, Bills finally look like they're figuring it out again. Stephon Diggs is no longer disgruntled and wanting to not play there anymore.
He had that one catch where he caught the ball sideline, juked the guy, then someone got on top of him.
Spun move and
ran all the way in the end zone. It was really impressive.
Also him with the Stone Cold Steve Austin slamming the beers together and spraying them everywhere. Cost that fan $45, but they'll never forget that memory. Yeah. That was incredible.
Raj, what's your analysis on the Josh Allen just does stuff right now? How's that looking?
He's still just doing stuff. I don't trust it. He's not being any allegations right now. He just goes out there and will do it. Either it works or it doesn't. Tiggs will be disgruntled one game, then he won't be another game.
Exactly, yeah.
It's the Bills every year. It's just what happens.
Yeah, because they look at like one fiery, like very passionate receiver, and they're like, he doesn't want to be there, and it's like, no, he just wants to win. Like everybody does that.
James Cook's also one of those players where like some days he'll run really good, and then other days
he just doesn't. Yeah. That's why he's one of the fantasy boomer bust players.
He's the biggest enigma I've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, hey, I could see either the Bills like barely making the playoffs this year or winning the Super Bowl. I have no idea.
There's no in between.
They're either like going to get smoked in the playoffs or they're going to win it all, and I don't know which one it's going to be. We just got to find out.
Yeah.
And
Chargers Raiders. Peter before the
Okay.
podcast said he has a really passionate Chargers rant, so I'm gonna put down my microphone and let him have the stage.
All right, look. To the city of LA. Fire Brandon Staley. I know you don't own the Chargers. You need to get rid of Brandon Staley. Look, he was a great defensive coordinator for the Rams. And, there's the whole thing about how, he was also a quarterback, so he knows the offense well. This dude has no situational awareness whatsoever. None. Because when Justin Herbert goes down with an injury, they were doing very well. They were beating the Raiders. He goes down with an injury. He's got to tape up his finger. The offense can't figure it out. Maybe that's on Kellen Moore. But again, Brandon Staley, you are the head coach. You got to be able to figure this out. You've been with Justin Herbert for a long time. You got to be able to get an offense moving besides just having Justin Herbert throw 50 times. And also, when the defense and Khalil Mack sacking the quarterback 6 times finally bail you out at the end after the Raiders probably should have won this game. When they get a pick right at the 1 yard line, what do you tell your defender to do? Oh, go down. Yeah, that's what you should do. There's 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock and they have 3 timeouts. Why are you not telling him to run downfield? What is wrong with you? Why are you backing up against your own end zone? Tell him to go score. You have no situational awareness whatsoever, all right? And I get it. Analytics, they tell you everything. Yeah, what about the other 30% of the time they don't work? And that's what's been happening every single week. You are so lucky you still have a job. God, I'm sorry.
It's hard for the media these days to agree on something, but everyone agrees. Sorry, my mic died. Everyone agrees that the Chargers are a poorly coached team. So I don't understand why he's still getting the chances. Like, I understand Justin Herbert could be better in certain spots, but just look at the stats. He's clearly good enough. Look at the talent around. Keenan Allen had like 219 yards and like 2 times. It was
Khalil
ridiculous.
Mack had 6 sacks. He had 2 forced fumbles.
And you beat the Raiders by 7 points. Like, what is it? And the Raiders aren't even a good team.
They had a rookie quarterback starting from like Texas A&M. Who? Unbelievable.
That team's just something else.
God, I'm
but
so sick
they'll
of it.
probably still be alive at the end.
Yeah,
We'll have to
they'll
see.
be 9-8. They'll make the playoffs and lose again.
No, choke a 33-point lead.
Sorry. Yes, they'll
Yeah.
choke another lead again. God.
How about some power rankings?
How about some power rankings?
Alrighty, so we're 4 weeks into the season, and it's time to evaluate where the top 5 teams are. All of us have the same list in different flavors, which, I think that makes a lot of sense. So my list, I'm going to start off with, I have the 49ers at 1, as long as everyone else. They're 4-0. They were really good last year. The only reason they got blown out so bad last year was because Brock Purdy snapped his UCL, and then another quarterback snapped in the game, and they were on third string
Concussion,
quarterback.
yeah.
So they were really good last year. They're still good this year. They've shown no signs of stopping. They've maybe covered every single spread they've played.
Yeah.
They've
Yeah.
just been beating up on teams,
Yeah.
and they have the best coach. They have one of the best coaches in the league.
They
The
have
quarterback's good.
They
They're
have
running-
the MVP.
They have the MVP of the league. Their defense is really good. There's just I don't think there's a debate for any team being better than them.
The only even slight issue they could have is like maybe their secondary is a little bit weak, but
Yeah.
like it's not bad by any stretch. So like they're
Also,
a
I'd like to make
wagon.
it clear these are not the projections. These are
No, these are just
Right-
current
right
now.
now what I think. This is not
Yes.
like a playoff prediction.
Yeah.
Anything else about the 49ers?
Yeah. Because we all have them at
Yeah.
one. So
They're
like,
really good.
yeah, they're a wagon.
And number 2, I have the Bills. I put the Bills there. They're close with some other teams, but ever since that first Jets game, it feels like they've kind of tightened the ship
Yeah.
a little bit. They've been blowing teams out since then.
Mhm.
They were a good team last year. They're just playing really good football.
I also had the Bills at 2. I think you're right. I think they kind of had like that really weird Jets game that they just like did not play well. But then they beat up on what the Commanders.
They really responded
Yes.
well to
Yeah, they did.
that game where it feels like Josh Allen had the 20. He was 21 of 25.
Yeah, he was very
game,
efficient. Because they beat up on the Raiders and the Commanders, and then it was like, okay, this is the big test. They're going to be playing Miami. Miami is a clearly very good football team. They shut them down. My only thing with them going forward is that Tre'Davious White is now out for the season, which is horribly like just so sad.
Especially when you might have to see a team like Miami in the playoffs.
Again,
and you need the secondary help.
Yeah, exactly. Tre'Davious White, probably easily their best corner, one of the better corners in the league, towards Achilles, out for the season, hands down. Maybe they'll give him the Aaron Rodgers treatment. Maybe they'll be back for the playoffs. Who knows? But I mean, just very sad for them. But they still easily look like the second best team in the league. What about you, Raj?
I'm just indecisive. I can't decide between the Dolphins and Bills because
that's valid though.
It's the whole thing with like I know the Bills. I know them way too well.
Yeah, exactly.
And Josh Allen's just gonna go out there and he's just gonna do Josh Allen. He's a Ford F-150 who country born and raised, I guess. Just he sees Stephon Diggs downfield, he'll throw it. It's either a tutty or a pick.
He's from California.
Yeah, I don't care. He doesn't look like it.
He did go to Wyoming.
He feels so Wyoming.
He does feel so Wyoming.
It's hard to believe that man lived in California.
Yeah. I mean, well, he lived in like North California, I think. So
flannel. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite quote of his is strong like bulls, smart like tractor. That perfectly describes Josh Allen.
I can't. It's like more of a 2 and a 2.5 for me right now. I'll put the Bills over to the Dolphins because they just
like
won.
2A 2B kind of thing. It's like because that's a really valid take though because it's like you could see because like for all we know next week the Bills could have a bad loss and the Dolphins could have a good win and then switch again.
If that game's in Miami, we might be talking about
well because then we'll have to
winning.
come back to it whenever they do end up playing Miami. So it's like exactly so. That's pretty solid.
Number 3, I have the Chiefs. The Chiefs and the Bills both played that Jets game really close. The Chiefs beat the Jets. The Bills lost the Jets in week 1. But I think in every other game since, the Bills have been playing better football. So I give the slight nod to the Bills.
Yeah.
Again, this is not the projections. I do think the Chiefs are still going to win the AFC.
Yeah.
But right now, I think the Bills are a little bit better of a team than the Chiefs.
Yeah, I had the Dolphins at 3, so it's like kind of just like the same thing as Raj, just like the 2A 2B kind of thing. But and then I had.
Why do you have the Dolphins above the Chiefs?
I have the Dolphins above the Chiefs solely because like just the way their offenses look right now because their defenses are kind of I feel like they're sort of on par. Like they're both like pretty solid. They're not like anything to really write home about. I don't think actually the Chiefs defense was like number 6 in the league, I think. So like they're very solid, but I don't know what's been going on with the offense. It feels like some weeks they're in sync, some weeks they're not. The Dolphins offense, I feel like they're always going to be like they feel like they're always like in sync. They're just going up against like good teams in the Bills where this week where they actually have like a pretty solid defense. And also just playing in Buffalo, they just obviously they were going to lose that game. But I mean, I don't know what's up with the Chiefs. Like they look really good one week, then they kind of like look like they're not so good the other week. And obviously, I think they're going to figure it out. I feel like they always do this, where like they're like slow at first, and then they just end up going on like a tear.
Actually, the Chiefs are notoriously really good in September.
Really?
Yeah, I think they've always been really good in September, I believe, which has been a little bit interesting. But I mean, they'll
figure it out.
It's funny because we're like sitting here like the Chiefs are interesting, but they're 3-1.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're still 3-1. They like obliterated the Bears. They clearly still have like everything going for them right now. Like I have no doubt the Chiefs will be good, but like,
and the big thing with the Chiefs is, did you really ever think last night that the Jets were going to win the football game?
Yes,
I didn't.
There was maybe one moment when right before Zach Wilson fumbled, I was like, maybe they got a shot, and then literally he fumbled it. I'm like, all right, they just lost the game.
But
like,
even
right
if
there.
the Jets scored, I was still like, Patrick Mahomes is going to come down and score.
Yeah,
I just never concerned.
Yeah.
Number 4, I have the Dolphins again for all the reasons we said here. It's just
you just prefer the Chiefs over the Dolphins kind of thing.
And then number 5, which I'm shocked we actually all have them here, is the Philadelphia Eagles. And I wanted to talk about this specifically because
you know what? I'm going to switch my 5.
The Eagles are not
You're putting
playing.
The Cowboys, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yep, knew it.
I am going to put the Cowboys.
The Eagles are not playing great football right now, but they're 2 4-0 teams in the league. The Eagles are one of them. They're winning games, which is really important. They haven't played horrible opponents. They did not play great opponents. They haven't played horrible opponents. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, I'm going to trust the team that made the Super Bowl last year, put up a really good fight in the Super Bowl. And I think they're playing down to their competition. They lost both their offensive coordinator, their defensive coordinator in the offseason. I think it's taking some time.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing I'm concerned about is Jalen Hurts having that MVP year he had and then coming back down to earth, kind of like how Lamar Jackson had his MVP season and came down to earth. Because Jalen Hurts through 4 games, he's been kind of the problem. The middle of the defense has been a problem, but they've also been extremely injured. Jalen Hurts on offense has been the problem.
Yeah.
He's not playing good football.
Yeah. That's kind of why I ended up just now deciding to switch them out of 5 and putting the Cowboys in there. Just
to be clear, I have the Cowboys at 6.
Yeah, exactly. It's again, because it's so early in the year, it's like it's pretty easy just to kind of like flip teams around and stuff. You're right. It's really weird watching the Eagles, like, because I know, like, even historically they've always like won like these, like, you know, beat 'em up games. Like, they'll always end up coming out with like scrappy wins against teams that they should be thoroughly beating. But it's really weird to watch Jalen Hurts just kind of like look fine when last year he looked unstoppable. And it's like, yeah, obviously they got like the tush push, like it's like the undefeated like 4th and 1 play,
the brotherly shove,
whatever, you get it. But it's just really odd watching the Eagles offense, which was easily one of the best offenses in the league last year, just kind of look mid when they have such like great talent on the team. It's like, why didn't you just do the same thing you did last year?
And what's interesting about the offense is they're really not changing a lot in terms of the personnel. They've got, first of all, their coach is an offensive head coach.
Yeah.
And they've got pretty much the same thing across all positions besides running back. And it just feels like running back's the position you need.
Yeah.
The least amount of consistency.
But then you honestly got better there.
Yeah, exactly.
And then somehow it's like they almost look worse than they did last year.
Yeah. So
it's really weird.
And I think it starts with Jalen Hurts, and maybe it's a little bit of play calling stuff, but
they'll figure it out.
But that's why I have them at 5, because they are number 1 or 2 in terms of talent as on a roster standpoint.
Probably full roster, probably, yeah.
And they're still 4-0. And at the end of the day in the NFL, wins matter.
Yeah.
Check out the team like a Vikings, who we still think the Vikings are a good roster, but they haven't won games, and now they're kind of in no man's land. Same thing with the Bengals. You do get credit for winning football games. That's why I have the Eagles at 5.
I would say I just think that I think the Cowboys are just like, I don't know what crack they are smoking right now, but whenever they get going, they maul teams. Like, they will absolutely boat race anybody that they play.
I actually feel like it's the opposite of the Eagles, where the Eagles will play teams sort of close, where I think when the Cowboys smell blood,
they just go after
it. They'll
nuts.
just rip teams apart.
Yeah, and like there was Micah Parsons, I think, got like an ankle sprain or something. It looked very, very minimal, though. He was like out there playing again as well. But their defense is like, you know, Trayvon Diggs goes down, and it doesn't look like they skipped a beat, really. Like, they are still legit. They dog walked the Patriots, and I don't know what their season looks like for the rest of the year, but I legitimately think that they could, and I hate to say this, but this could be one of, like, with how weird the NFC looks this year, they could easily, I could see them making it to the NFC Championship this year.
The biggest 2 games of the season for both the Cowboys and the Eagles are going to be the games they play each other in the regular season.
Yep, like period. Because but they're both going to sweep the Giants and the Commanders. But it's going to be those 2 games where they play each other.
Maybe not as frisky Sam Howell.
No, the Commanders, whenever the Cowboys play the Commanders are going to, Sam Howell's going to die. I'm just going to say that right now. Micah Parsons is going to have like 4 sacks. Like, he's going to die. But, yeah.
Raj, any take on the Eagles as a resident Eagles fan?
They gave me too many heart attacks. That's it.
There was a image I sent today to the group chat, and it was like it was the Eagles logo, and there's a little timeline. It was like, wow, I'm so excited to see my favorite team play. And then it was like, man, I really want to die watching this team.
And then afterwards, right at the end,
oh yay, we won, let's go.
Yeah,
that's exactly how I feel watching the Eagles. Like, me and my dad will be texting back and forth during the game, and it's like, oh my god, like, this is happening. Are they Jesus? Like, they're letting this team in the game. At the end, it's like, hooray, we're 4-0. Like,
hooray, we win. And then it's like, but then everyone's like, oh god.
That's NFL Week 4.
Yeah, that's the NFL.
I'm excited for Week 5. I think I was looking at some of the bets for Week 5 and the betting lines. I think this might be the week where everything is normalized. I feel like I know where teams are at. I think it makes sense. I'm feeling confidence in betting predictions for the next week. Again, we are 21 and betting in the state of Pennsylvania, and we're all legal. So we'll probably give you those picks next week. Real quick before we signed off, I wanted to talk about the MLB because the playoffs brackets are set. When this podcast comes out, the playoffs will be starting today. We're not super big into baseball. Peter's a Yankees fan,
I'm in pain.
and he's in pain. He's on the playoffs. Raj and I, on the other hand, Raj, what month is it?
Red October.
Red October. Phillies play the Marlins in the first 3-game series. Very excited about that. I'm anticipating another run. Very hype. Raj, what's going on there?
It's Giants Seahawks right now.
Basically, the Giants defender brought Kenneth Walker down, but his knee or elbow never touched the ground.
His ass hit the ground.
Oh, does that count?
Yes.
Oh, then never
His
mind.
elbow just touched there.
Oh, I wasn't.
What are you
paying attention.
talking about?
I don't know how the refs
But no,
they call
but
that.
I think they were doing the thing where they just like let the play
Yeah.
out and then they just go back to review it. Because
He's down.
look, it's right there.
Yeah, he's down.
He's down. But they just let him. It was very weird because like it seemed like they stopped the play. Then they kind of like let him keep going, and then everyone was like, "Oh wait, no, it stopped." And then he just ran in the end zone, and they just called it a touchdown. He was like, "Okay, I guess they're just gonna review this."
Very confusing.
But yeah, I think they're gonna review it, and it's gonna be overturned.
Reversed.
Or yeah, there you go. So there we go.
You heard it here first. I'm going to say that the Astros, well, if you're taking my fandom bracket, it's going to be the Astros versus the Phillies again, but the Phillies are going to win the World Series. If you're taking my lucid bracket prediction, it's going to be the
Phillies.
Astros and the Dodgers in the playoffs, and the Dodgers are going to win the World Series. I'm very excited to watch. I'm going to be locked in. The game start tomorrow. It's like 4 of them. I'm going to be watching them all day.
Yeah.
When I can. I just feel I'm locked into baseball this year.
I got Orioles Phillies.
Orioles Phillies.
Looks
Okay.
good. Orioles look
Peter,
good.
what are your thoughts?
I would love to see the Orioles win. Because
It's just Baltimore. Like,
no,
you want
it's
to see
no.
that team
No.
No, like,
No.
we're gonna have 4 games of the playoffs in Baltimore.
Yeah, dude. What Camden Yards is one of like the most historically like good
Historic,
like,
historic Shmoric out of Baltimore.
Oh my god, you're a loser. No, I would love to see Baltimore win. Because like they have one of like the lowest. What's like one of the lowest.
Hold on,
cap
real
hits in
quick.
the
If they
league.
play that damn World Series in Tampa Bay, holy cow, their stadium
It's gonna
is the
explode.
ugliest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh yeah,
If I have to watch like more than 2 games
yeah.
in Tampa Bay Stadium, like I need the Rangers to sweep them. Like I can't.
Their stadium's
It's
gonna
so
collapse.
ugly.
Yeah, it's so bad. But yeah, I'd love
Tropicana Stadium.
Yeah, Tropicana Stadium. Yeah, I'd love Baltimore to win because they're like the biggest underdog, but they're
Their
one,
logo's
they're
so
the one
cute.
seed. Yeah,
Little bird
I know.
hat,
That's my thing. Is like because they've always been the underdog for so long, and they're such a young team right now, and they have like the second lowest like salary cap like in the league. Like it's an awesome underdog story, but they're like the 1 seed, so it's a great story. I absolutely hate the Astros with all of my heart.
I hate the Astros. It's just like
I think we all do.
yesterday, a big thing happened where the Astros were able to get to win the division and become the 2nd seed instead of having to play that first round series. And I think that's just going to bite this whole playoff bracket in the butt because you're giving them more time to rest their guys when they've got pitchers like Verlander who could use the extra rest as an older pitcher. I just think giving them the rest and even putting them on the same side of the bracket as like the Twins have like 80 some wins and the Rangers are the 5 seed and have like 90 something wins. Like they were going toe to toe with the Astros all year. I think Houston's on a perfect side of the bracket right now where they're going to get a favorable matchup in the 2nd round. They might win that series, and then they're going to be on like they're going to have a good amount of rest going into the series, probably against the Orioles, maybe not. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I just think this broke extremely well for the Astros, which is the last thing we want is for it to break well with the Astros. And the NL side of the bracket it's just going to be. I think it's just going to be tight all the way around. I think if the Phillies beat the Marlins, if the Marlins beat the Phillies, I think the Braves will have easy work. The Phillies and the Braves is going to be another just a dogfight of a series.
That's going to be it's going to be another dogfight.
So. And whatever Dodgers Brewers, I think will be a close series. So I think this broke extremely well for the Astros, and I'm really excited to watch. And we'll maybe talk a little bit more baseball on the podcast in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I know, right? So much fun with baseball. Is Jamal Adams leaving?
Yeah.
What?
No idea.
Everyone's favorite player, Jamal Adams. Oh no.
Well, because he just came. I'm so confused because he was supposed to make his debut after tearing his quad game 1 last year. So I'm very confused what's happening there. And they weren't even playing defense. Did he get kicked out?
I have no idea what happened.
He was like, it looked like he was yelling at somebody on the sideline.
That would be so funny if you got kicked
but
out
on
of
his
the game.
own team.
Interesting.
And I'm so confused. He's getting sent to the locker room. I don't know
Yep.
what's happening.
Oh, Jamal Adams was barking at the Red Hat unaffiliated neurotrauma console after being in the medical tent. Was going at him the whole time the play was happening. Just now being taken to the locker room. Okay, so he was chirping a doctor.
Wait, why was the Giants are on defense?
What
is happening?
The game's been on for like 7 minutes now.
So
maybe,
so they must have had a drive
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Right.
All right, before we head off, Peter,
Yes.
Giants win today.
No.
No? Okay. Raj, did the Eagles beat the Rams?
Wait, Eagles beat. Oh, next week. Yeah, the Eagles are going to be.
Do the Phillies sweep the Marlins?
No.
Oh, Phillies sweep the Marlins. Do the Giants win their next game?
I don't even know who they're playing next week.
Yes or no?
Probably not.
Probably not.
They
All
just
right,
muffed a punt. I'm so happy. I love my life. Please end this podcast.
that's the podcast. If you got all the way through, please drop a like, comment, subscribe. It really helps the channel out a lot. We'll see you next week where we'll have a lot of more interesting content. Hopefully some more NBA news that's not related to Jimmy Butler and his terrible.